Hello everyone, welcome back to the It's Good Mornings podcast. I know, it's been a hot minute since I have put this out, but I'm still here, which is kind of the whole point.
Yes.
Yeah. A little bit of depression, a little bit of burnout, but we'll get into that. And if you're wondering who this, I was going to say delectable, but like, you're not edible. You're not edible. This delectable person next to me is, some of you might know her as Bethany.
I am
Some of
Bethany.
you might know her as the superhero who helps me run the rescue, but she's both. But now she has a third title.
Oh my god. Do you want to say it?
Yes. So, oh my god. Wait, no, we're going to hold it off.
We're going to tell the whole story. You're going to wait.
Yeah, so we have, here's the events. We are going to talk a little bit about our story, how we met. We're going to talk a little bit about what has happened in like the last month since I posted. And then we're going to talk about everything for the future and what we're hoping for in the next year.
Yes.
Okay. Before we get any further, can you make sure I don't have spinach in my teeth?
Actually, you have a little bit.
Yeah, see, this is, I knew it.
Smart. Help me.
You're good. Am I good?
Good.
Okay.
Beautiful.
And that's why we keep Bethany around. Anyway, so one of the biggest things that I always see with people whenever like you show up on my videos is, how did you two meet? And for those of you who don't know, Bethany and I both, she's officially diagnosed with autism. I am not, but highly suspected by everyone who handles my medical things.
Which I feel like that's a diagnosis in itself.
Yeah. Without like the official testing.
You don't have to pay for it. That's fine.
Exactly. Oh my god. You know what I didn't do? I didn't press record on that. Perfect. Okay. We're just going to keep going.
Yeah.
Because anyway. Yeah. So, what was it? 2020 or 2021?
So 2020 was actually like our first meeting, and then 2021 was like our official meeting.
Okay, tell me about that, because you told me that story that we had met before.
Yeah.
I remember us meeting, and I was like,
yeah,
I totally remember that. It's life-changing.
Yes. So it was the year of chaos, 2020. And at this time, I was fostering with my local animal shelter. And they had taken in 2 random bottle babies and had reached out to me to see if I could foster them. And at the time, I couldn't do bottle babies because of my job schedule, but it was a weekend. So I was like, I can take them over the weekend. That way you guys have some more time to work something out. And then I guess they had contacted Miss Dixie's Kitten Rescue, and Mary was like, send me the babies. And so I was put in a Facebook group chat with some people from the shelter and then Mary, and then I actually drove to meet her at our typical kitten drop-off spot.
Wait, we met at Dairy Queen?
Yes, we met at Dairy Queen. So Dairy Queen is like our little drop-off spot where we meet, because it's kind of like in the middle of our houses.
Yeah, it's like perfectly in between.
Yeah, and so that's like where we always do like our drug exchanges, basically, where we like pull up
kitten
in our
drug
cars and
exchanges.
just like swap things. So that is where we met technically for the very first time, and I gave Mary the bottle babies from the weekend, and so that was my first experience with Miss Dixie's Kitten Rescue. I didn't know that it had existed, and I gave you 2 bottle babies, and I remember I was like showing you the feeding chart that I had been like keeping, and then I was also, and then here you go, they're suckling on each other, so that'll be another fun thing. And you're like, oh great, so I'll have to keep them separate. So gave you that fun thing, and then we didn't officially meet until the next year.
Hi, Taxi. This is taxidermy. She'll be in and out. Love you. She's for adoption, so keep that in mind. So then, fast forward to 2021. I think it was a little later in the year, because I had started on TikTok.
Yeah, it was March.
It was March.
It was March, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so not later in the year at
Well,
all in any
I mean,
capacity. It was really early
it was
in the
the
year.
year of Our Lady, 2021, and
Year of our
time
Lord.
was weird.
Time was
Time's
so
still
weird.
weird, but yes. Yeah, it was March.
And Bethany reached out to the rescue, and she was like, yo, trap this kitten. If I foster for you, can you help me find her a home? And I was like, yeah, dog. That sounds great. And so the stranger on the internet, I gave her my address. She came to my house. And at first the vibes were like really off.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a bad, like the vibes were off, because Bethany came into the house and come on in.
Yeah.
And then we just like kind of sat in silence as I gave flea meds and vaccinated. And like I tried to make jokes, and then Bethany was like, okay. And I was like, oh my God, she hates me. I don't know what to do. And so that was our first like encounter with each other.
Yeah.
And it was Inosuke?
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. And that was the kitten.
Yes. So that was the kitten that I trapped. And like full disclosure, I had also sent that message out to like 4 other rescues.
Really?
Yeah, because it was kind of obviously around like the height of COVID, and so a lot of shelters were having to do things totally differently. And a lot of times, if I found a kitten, which one does when they are in
Here's
this
the thing.
type of life.
Time out. Of all the people who find kittens in this rescue, Bethany takes the cake. And it's not because she finds them. It's because she knows people who just like reach out because she grew up around here.
Yes, yeah. And it's just the network. Everyone's like, oh, you found a kitten? I know this girl who knows a girl who knows Bethany. Talk to her.
Yeah,
and
no.
So like we've gotten ourselves entangled in a lot of kittens because of me.
That's okay though. It all works out just fine. Okay, anyway, so.
But yeah, so my typical thing was if I did find a kitten, a lot of times with the rescue or the shelter that I was fostering for at that time, I could be like, hey, I'll foster this one too. And then I could get them adopted through the shelter. But they were not doing any intakes anymore after COVID. And so I'd found this kitten, trapped her, and had emailed a bunch of rescues. And I was like, I'm happy to foster. I just need help with like the adoption process. And Mary was one of the only ones that was like, absolutely. And so I was like, let's do it.
Guys, if this teaches you anything, sometimes it's okay to say yes because you find your co-director on accident. So then she fosters her, and I was really nervous the whole time. Like, I was putting on a good face, but I was like, oh my God, she's going to think I don't know what I'm doing. Like, she seems to really have it together. What if she comes and she's like, oh my God, like her vaccine schedule was wrong or she didn't deworm properly. And I was just like so nervous that Bethany was going to hate me. And I don't know why I was like so nervous, you particularly. I was like, I don't know, but I feel like I need to show her I've got it together.
That's so cute that you were feeling like that, because I was like already just like blown away by the process. I think maybe our first meeting like maybe was a little awkward and weird because I'm just like taking it all in and I'm just like, oh my God, like this is incredible.
Oh yeah.
Just like immediately getting them in, all the dewormers, and then of course I saw like Tiny But Mighty, like Kitten Lady's book, and I remember I was like, ooh, a connection, like a thing we can talk about that we have in common. And so I'm like, oh, I had that book. But yeah, I was floored because it was like all of the things that I wanted to see like in a rescue, and I felt like so happy.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, but she says she has that experience, and I'm like, oh my God, she hates me. She hates everything, which, trauma. That's my own problem to deal with. But then, the other thing I was really worried about is because we're a foster-based rescue, like sometimes our adoptions are a little bit slow. And some of the fosters, which totally makes sense, they're like, hey, I can only hold on to them a certain number of times. Right. And so that was always something was nervous for me. Still kind of a bit of a sticking point, but we're working on that.
Yeah.
But Bethany, like, she held on to the kitten for as long as it needed. And then we found the most perfect home. Yeah. Like, I don't think we could have found a better home for her. And then Bethany brings her to my house, and she brings a little letter.
Yeah.
And, like, this whole, like, thing. And I was like, oh, this girl, like, gets it. And then I think, did I put you in contact with them, or just, like, we're sending you updates as they
I think you were just sending me updates, as they sent. Because they were, like, update photos and everything, which I loved. Because, again, like, with my experience fostering with the shelter, it was just totally different. Because a lot of times they wouldn't be adopted when I was done fostering. They would just have to go to the shelter. Yeah. And then the only way I would know is I would just have to compulsively check the website, like, every single day and be like, oh, is my kitten still available? And then if they weren't, I'd be happy. But then I would never, ever know what happened to them after that. So I was like, oh my God, updates. Like, I love this so much.
She gets updates. And then we don't work with each other for, like, I think it was like a couple weeks. Like, I did not let her have any rest. And then someone contacted me about kittens they found in a boat because it was, like, getting to be summertime. They pulled their boat out from storage and they found this whole slew of kittens. And I was like, oh my God, I don't have a foster, but, like, I want to help them because at this time our local humane society was undergoing a big change, mainly because of COVID, but they, like, literally weren't intaking any animals. And I was like, these guys are actually going to die if we don't. Mama Taxidermy is...
She has a battery?
She's batting a battery. Get it, girl. Get it. And so I was like, well, I do have this one foster. I don't know if she'll take them. So I reached out to her again. I was like, hey, would you like another group? And she was like, absolutely. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I gave them to her, and I didn't hear anything from her. Like, I'm usually used to, especially for bottle babies, like fosters being like, a little bit more needy, which is perfect because that's what I want. Like, if you're not comfortable, I want to hear from you.
Yes, absolutely.
But I didn't hear anything from you. And I was like, I gave her 5 kittens. Like, is she okay? So I check in with her and you're like, yeah, no, the so-and-so and so-and-so is still on the bottle. This is this. And I was like, oh God, she's got it handled. All right, no problem. And then we found them all homes pretty fast.
Yeah.
Because it was like right before kitten season started.
It was. Yeah, they all got adopted quickly. That was our Schitt's Creek litter. And they were adorable. We had the cutest little photo shoot. Yeah.
Yes, and then I learned her sister was a photographer because they took all those cute photos. And I was like, okay. And then it's just like I kept giving her kittens.
Yeah.
And that was like the basic of that.
Yeah.
But then I don't remember, because like this is how the best relationships I feel happen. It's just like so organic.
Yeah.
I don't remember how did you come into then some type of other role? Like, how did I dub the TNR coordinator?
I feel like it was pretty soon after that the first group that I like officially fostered, the Schitt's Creek Fosters, and then they got adopted, and I think we were texting. So like I had Mary's rescue number. I did not have Mary's number, and I think we had
pro tip. Pro tip. The thing I've learned the most important about rescue is if you are going to start rescuing animals, just like even from your neighborhood, get a Google number.
Oh my God, yeah.
Do not give your personal number to anyone because, and it just happened to me like a couple weeks ago, some person that I'd given my personal number to when I first got started before I got the Google number, they called me randomly on like a Sunday night and they were like, hey, I found kittens. What do I do? And I was like, girl, who are you?
Right. Yeah. Like, what?
So anyway, okay, time back in. That's just my big pro tip.
Yes, no, good tip. So we had been communicating on the rescue number, and I think we had talked about the Schitt's Creek kittens, and I was just like, oh my God, like, so happy they're adopted. And I was like, yes, like, we're absolutely interested in continuing to foster with you. I loved the experience. So I think I was just like, this is awesome. Like, this is like who I want to be fostering with. So I'd kind of transferred from the shelter to fostering just with Miss Dixie's Kitten Rescue.
We stole her.
And then at the end of that conversation, Mary was like, here's my real number. Don't share it with anybody. But like, and I was like, I will not. And then I think after that, like, it was very organic, very just like, daily updates or texts, like random, like, oh, this is what my foster's doing. And then it just like, slowly over time.
Yeah. Like, slowly. And I was like, okay, well, because I have always wanted to bring on more people to help me. And some of the people who I had tried to get on, I brought them on, or they had some life event that happened. Right. And so they couldn't do it anymore, which fine. Some people, they were really busy and they didn't realize how busy they were. Yeah. And so there wasn't a lot of follow through. So I was really hesitant to bring someone on, but I knew I needed someone.
Yeah.
And so Bethany just kept like, not only stepping up, but just doing things. And this was before we were even friends, really, I would say.
Yeah.
We were just like, it was literally just a business, like,
right.
transaction. Not really, but it was just like, it was purely business.
It was just very based on, the rescue. And we started doing like a little more TNR together. And
that was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, and I had done like a little bit here and there before, but like, this is when like the real TNR mission started. Like we did a really big project at a gas station with like 20 plus cats.
God, I remember that.
And so we were like spending a lot of time together there. And then I think it was maybe a little bit after that we started talking about like Miss Dixie's TNR program and like how we could grow that.
And that's, I think, about when I dubbed the TNR coordinator.
Yeah.
And so
you can't see her, but she is up.
That's my bad for leaving that open. My bad. So I dubbed her TNR coordinator and then did that for a while. And then I was like, okay, I need you to do more than TNR and coordinate. Like, I need some help with some of the day-to-day operations. So I brought you up to, what was your next technical term?
Program coordinator.
Program coordinator. These were meaningless. I need you guys to know that. I was just like, I feel like people want a title. Yeah. So let's just move it up.
Right.
So I was like, I guess you're program director, program manager.
Because it was just like a lot. It had grown to like just more than TNR, It was like, first it was like TNR scheduling like some surgeries and sponsorships that we did. And then like a little bit more into like volunteers and then social media.
Yeah. Oh my God. I remember now. The first big project that we did with TNR was not only just TNR, but it was sponsored spay neuters.
Yes.
Which was like all I wanted to do because I love the idea of we would go to these communities and we would TNR the cats, and then people would come out and they'd be like, oh my God, I have a cat that I need fixed. Can you help? And we were like, yeah. So they would pay $25. We would pay the rest of the cost, whatever it was. and they would get their animals fixed.
Right.
And Bethany helped me coordinate that.
Yeah.
And that was a really successful program
It was,
for a while.
like-
And then we got overwhelmed.
Yeah, it was a lot. I think we launched it around Thanksgiving was like our first one.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, with the vet, we had like 20 slots. And I mean, immediately, like as soon as we posted that it was open, we would always have like the max number of applications.
Yep.
And yeah, so we operated like that for a little while, but it really was just like, it was so much. Because I mean, the need is just never ending.
It's never ending. And I think what happened is like the vet ended up, so our vet hospital was sold to new doctors who are
Right.
now our doctors.
Yes.
And I think that transition caused that to stop for a little
Mm-hmm.
while. And then we just never picked it back up because our local Humane Society started doing
Yes.
free TNR surgeries.
Right.
So
Love that.
yes, so that was exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, you know, brought her up. We brought on our other TNR coordinator, Val, who's
Yes.
still with us. And yeah, it's just been like I think what's been really beautiful, not to get deep on you, Bethany, I think what was really beautiful about starting is, first of all, I always say this, and Bethany agrees, we are the same person in different fonts.
Yes.
And so like our first meeting where we were both being awkward, if I finally understood what it wasn't that we were being awkward. It's just that like you and I are so used to molding ourselves to fit a situation.
Right.
That we were trying to mold ourselves while the other person was trying to mold themselves.
Yes.
And so we didn't know like how we fit.
Exactly.
And so that took a long time to figure out. But once we figured that out, it was just like this slow boil out. And, you know, Bethany and I are very secretive, not on purpose, about like personal things.
Right.
It's just not what we talk about
Yeah.
hardly ever. And so every once in a while she would like share a little personal thing and I'd be like, you want to tell me more? Like,
Yeah.
like I wanted to learn more, and then I'd share something personal, and it was like back and forth. And I think what happened is we found each other based on a shared love of something, and then a friendship blossomed. I think the turning point was a year ago when we did that massive trip
Oh, yes.
north.
Yeah.
And we just had like, what was it, like 36 hours
It
or
was,
something
yeah.
of just conversation.
Just, yes, in the car, just with each other, nonstop. It was great.
Life story vomits, the whole shebang.
Yes. Music rock out. Like, it was wonderful. It really was.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's when we found our love for the Prince of Egypt.
Yes.
And
I
all
was
the
like,
soundtracks.
yeah, we're going through, we're driving forever. And so we're just like, I was playing my music while Mary drove, and then she would play her music while I drove. So we're like DJing for each other, and, you know, we're like getting to the bottom, and I'm just like, oh my God, here's the song that I've been listening to on repeat all year long. You probably won't know it though. And then I put on and you were like, I think you guessed it. Before I even put it on, you were like, is it from the Prince of Egypt? And I was like, how did you know that? Like, yes.
Because I was vibing to the same thing.
Oh my God.
But it was like this slow thing. And I think what was most special about that for me is that was right after the first semester of my vet school. And that semester was really hard for me, but also more incredibly hard for you. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
No, yeah, that
brought that
was,
one up.
I mean, I guess I am a little bit of a secretive person. I just don't like to share a lot about myself just because I'm like, nobody cares.
That's what we vibe
Nobody
about,
cares.
though.
Yeah, so I had been going through a real deep depression and burnout. This was like the beginning of me kind of discovering autism. So like autistic burnout, like the worst depression I've ever experienced. I'd been really lucky up until that point to like not have had to deal with that ever. And it got to the point where I was actually having to take a leave from work because I was so close to being like, yeet. Bye guys. And
Yeet
so,
off the planet.
Yes,
Let's be
like,
clear.
yeah, it was bad. And so I had told Mary, because I knew that I had like shut down and I was not responding to people and I was just like avoiding everything in my life. So I think we met up at the Dairy Queen, as we do. And I was just like, hey, I just want to let you know like what I'm dealing with, what's going on. I'm sorry I haven't been there, but like taking this break. And I'm really hoping, like, I'll have this time to, like, change and
and that was, like, terrifying for me, but also a relief. Because I knew something was up.
Yeah.
Because Bethany and I, up until, like, September of that year, I mean, we would text, like, every day.
Yeah.
And it was just, like, one message or something.
Yeah,
But
we were, like, always talking about something.
Always talking. And I would send her a message, and then I wouldn't hear anything for, like, a week. But I didn't clock it immediately because I was also overwhelmed with the start of school and doing all the things.
Yeah.
So eventually it finally got to me, and I remember dropping off Kat's tea one night, and I was like, are you okay? And you were like, no. And I was like, okay, do you want to talk about it? And you said no. And I was like,
I don't remember that.
yeah. And I was like, that's fine. Just know that I'm here. And then it was later, you know, she was able to take this leave from work and kind of rediscover herself and learn that job was not it. Not it. So we had to find a different job. And I think, you know, God, I hate talking about this because it makes me so sad. I'm very selfish. It makes me sad. I know what you were going through, and it makes me sad. Like, there was a really big possibility that I was going to lose you. And that is hard to think about sometimes.
Yeah.
Because, I don't, like, you guys don't know Bethany in the way that I know Bethany clearly. Some of you just met her. Hello.
Right. Hi.
Let's talk about her deepest, darkest spots. But Bethany is, like, the kindest, sweetest person who, like, no, you are. And you just, like, match my vibe. Like you said the other day, you match my freak. And it is. Like, there was never a situation, because it's one of the things I loved and what I hated doing Rescue Alone was I had no one to bounce things off of. So everything was on my shoulders. But then when I met you and I could start bouncing things off, it's not like we ever came to a different conclusion.
No.
But it was so nice that we could talk about it. And some of the hard decisions, like I've made decisions to euthanize cats before Bethany. And then once Bethany came, it was like, oh my God, a relief. I can share the sadness. No, but I can talk with someone about it.
Yeah.
And
someone who just gets it.
Someone who just gets it. And she would just show up. And I mean, that's talking a lot about what she can do for me, which is, you know, very man thing to do. But she's just like the way people talk about you is so incredible. Like, anyone you meet who has met Bethany talks about how she's just the most wonderful, best, kind, thoughtful, considerate person. And that's who Bethany is at her core. Yeah.
I'm just like trying really hard not to cry.
I can see that. It's okay. Apparently my Prozac keeps me from crying, so LOL.
Love that.
And, you know, the fact that the world potentially could have lost that just gutted me. Because not just for the rescue, but just for everyone. Like, you're such a special person.
Thank you.
I don't think you expected this one.
No, I didn't expect this. but no, I mean, I do think it's good to say. We always do this. We're like, God, like, we're not mushy. And then we're like, oh my God, I love you so much. You're the best friend. And just like pour our hearts out to each other.
Without you.
And then we're like, okay, ew, that's over. Back to normal.
Tomato.
But yeah, so I felt the same way about Mary. I'd actually written letters to everybody because like that's how close I felt like I was, and I wanted to do everything I could to like make it easier, I guess, on people. But I was like, I really want to tell everyone like how I feel. And Mary was one of those people that I wrote a letter to. And I remember like in the letter, I was just like, meeting Mary was like meeting a person who sees you for the first time, you know, because you shared like everything that I share, like all my passions about rescue and kittens, and like you got me and saw me on a level that I feel like I'm rarely seen, and it probably like the autism, you know, but like and so I was just like it was so incredible, and I just wanted her to know like how much that made me feel like I wasn't just like an alien weirdo, that like, oh my God,
there's
like
two of us.
There's two. But yeah, so all of that aside, thanks to therapy and medication and getting a new job and Mary and the support of all the people that I had, I was able to recover and, you know, keep on keeping on. And I'm so glad that I am, because I, you know, when I'm like in that spot and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm not going to see what happens. Like, you know, I know you're going to be a fantastic vet. I know the rescue's going to do amazing things. Like, I'm sorry, I can't be there for that journey, but like, I'm gonna be here for the journey, and like now it's in a totally different way.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, it was incredible.
And what she doesn't know is the rescue would have dissolved without her. Like, there was just no way. She has become such an integral part in everything that we do, but also just like in my life, that loss would have been so devastating. I couldn't have continued. I would have stopped.
Well,
So look at this little like butterfly effect that you did. But not to keep getting depressed and mushy. One of the things that Bethany and I think since TikTok and like Bethany learned all about that in my life, one of the things I've like promised her, and it has been like listen, there's some influencers that want to make money for themselves. I don't give a fuck. Would I like to live? Yes. Would I like to have a roof over my head? Yeah, that's great.
Sure. Do we want the basic human rights?
Yeah, but
do.
That's for a different podcast. Today, it's just about. I remember. I mean, I just like promised you. I was like, one day you're gonna work for the rescue. One day this will be your job, and I'm gonna do everything in my power. And you can ask some of you guys from my Patreon. You know, Ren and I we've schemed about this. Kay and I have schemed about this. Like, how can we bring Bethany on? And earlier this year, we got accepted into the Mighty Kitten program with Orphan Kitten Club with Kitten Lady, who was our little bridge.
Right,
so
yes.
we've come full circle.
We really have.
And we got that in, and we were going to submit a grant to do her salary, for a salary for her.
Right.
And there was also some other things because my depression started really kicking in.
It was like, here you go, like passing the torch.
She passed it to me, but I think we both needed to go through that. Unfortunately, in some capacity.
Sucks.
Yeah. We would not be here without that. And so we were going to submit it, and I was like, Bethany, I can't handle more than what we're doing. Like, I literally, I can't take on another foster human. Yeah. Like, I can't take on another cat. Like, I think we actually need to pay her back. And my partner has started to step up and help us with, like, the treasury side of things. And he was like, well, if we're going to be taking a step back, just like in numbers wise, while you finish school, then maybe we don't actually apply for a grant, because that means, they're going to expect more from us, and we're trying to take a step back.
Right.
And as much as it gutted us, we were both like, okay, no, you're right. Yeah. And so I thought we were going to start another year without anything. And then thankfully, because my partner and I have been so careful with the rescue's money. I mean, so careful.
Yeah.
That is one thing that I'm very passionate about, because you guys trust us with your money. Yeah. And I do everything in my power to make sure it is responsibly spent or invested in the future for the rescue. And so we had been stocking away kind of money to potentially purchase a place where we could have a solid location where we could build our clinic. And so we kind of been stacking that money. But we were seeing this this hard stop of we can't continue to grow in this way, because with me going to school, I was doing maybe quarter time at the rescue, and you were doing quarter time because you were working.
Right.
And my partner was like, we could hire her for 1 year and work to try to increase donations or try to make her salary in other ways, but really just take a leap of faith and just risk it. And he told me that. And he said, you don't know this part. He told me that. I was walking to my car from class. He told me that. And I was like, okay, well, he was like, well, don't tell her yet. Let's go home. Let's make sure that we can do that. And then we'll tell her. I told her immediately. I was like, Bethany, guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what? All your dreams are going to come true. You're going to work for the rescue. And so the reason she's here today on this podcast, it's because everyone stand up. Everyone stand up. Please welcome what did we describe your name? Managing Director of Miss Dixie's Kitten Rescue, Bethany.
Incredible.
Today is her first day.
It is
January 1st. And this is what we are doing on her first day.
Yeah.
And yeah,
it is
you are.
Unreal. Unreal. So surreal. I think I had a really crazy day at work when Mary had texted me, and she's texting me all caps multiple times. I think
that's how you know it's real.
You texted my my husband too, because you hadn't heard from me, and I think you were just like, oh my god, what? I was like,
this is life-changing news. Why hasn't she got back to me?
And I saw that, and of course I was having a miserable day at work, and I was just like, oh my god, took everything to not just be like, okay, bye, I'm leaving.
So we waited that whole, so I think I told you beginning of December, and then kind of waited out this full month just because it would be easier for paperwork wise to start her on the first of the year.
Right.
And the first of the year is here, and she has begun.
Yes, I'm so psyched, and like, I mean, we keep going back and forth. We're like, oh my God, like
How's this real?
This is real life. Are you kidding me?
I could just read you guys our text messages from this morning. Here, I'll even...
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'll pull it up. Because I was like, oh Lord. Oh my God, there's so many.
We did
I was like, my default is let's be swift so she can get back to her job.
Right.
But this is it now. And then she just responds with all crying emojis.
I know. But I'm going to be emotional today. Like, this is...
And you should be.
Yeah. It was just one of those things where we had talked about it, you know, throughout the time that I had been like fostering and volunteering with the rescue. Just like, oh my God, like one day you could work here. And I'm like, oh my God, that would be amazing. But I'm like, kind of an optimist, but like very much like a cautious, like realist optimist. And so I'm also like, oh yeah, like that would be wonderful, but like will probably never happen. And we've just gotten closer and closer and closer. And then it's like actually happening.
Here we are.
And I'm stunned.
She's stunned.
Stunned.
Well, so is my Patreon because they have a bunch of questions for you.
Okay.
So we are now exiting the segment of how we know each other. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to enter the segment of asking Bethany a few questions.
All right.
Okay. Here's a good one. Do you have any New Year's resolutions? And have you made any about the rescue?
That's a good one. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. So I'm very much like a writer and a journaler. Like I really like to plan out things. And I have been, I don't have it with me, but I have been, actually it might be in there. Anyways, I've been manifesting, you know, just like the whole writing, manifesting things, at work when I had my other job. We had a like retreat and we had a quiet time where we could like go out and like write things that we wanted for the future. And I wrote in there that I wanted to work for the rescue. Like I was like, we need to make it happen. Like I need to make it happen somehow. Like I had written it, and like 6 months later, like here we are. So yeah, I mean, I don't like to do like specific year goals because, you know, time is just such a,
time isn't
like
real.
It's not real and it's a weird thing, but like now that that's here, I mean, there are so many like things and goals that like we've talked about constantly of like, oh my God, like we want to do this, we want to get here. And it's just, we haven't had the capacity to do it. So, and now like this is it, like I can actually put my full focus into doing this. So we've got so much good stuff that's gonna happen this year and beyond with the rescue. But yeah, I mean for me, like personally, it's just to continue like doing things that I love, which is like the rescue, which is what feeds my soul. Like that's what makes me happy, and what makes me feel fulfilled. I want to make your life easier on you because I know you have gone through your own fun depression time, and I mean you're in vet school and like that's incredible and it's busy and I don't want you to have to worry about like the burden of what's happening with the rescue like while you're literally becoming a doctor, like
for the rescue.
So yeah, those are kind of my goals and I'm so excited.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
If I had resolutions for you, it would be to find balance, because what I don't want is like, I'm the worst. I'm not even a boss. Like my partner keeps saying like, you're her boss. I'm like, I'm not. If anything, Bethany's just the boss of me. I joke that she's actually the EOM of Mystic Seas.
Yes.
The extension of Mary.
Because we're the same person, different fonts. Like.
Same person, different fonts. And so she can just literally just take over the things that I was like half-assing because I literally had nothing in me to give a full ass.
Yeah. Full ass.
I could not full ass anything. I could barely stay alive. But, oh, what was I going to say? It was something...
You said find a balance.
Find a balance. Something about depression. I don't know. It'll come back to me. Mm-hmm. Moving along. Oh, that's a big one. Ooh. What's an accomplishment of yours that you are proud of with the rescue and personally?
Ooh, okay. So... I think with the rescue, I mean, we've done so much good stuff that I am just extremely proud of. Again, like this is everything that I would want in a rescue. I've had a lot of other experiences with different shelters, and there's always been stuff that like I haven't agreed with or that I wish things had been done differently. And so it's like, Mary's always like, oh my God, like I got you and I'm like weaseled you into this. But I'm like, no, that was me. Like, that was me. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to insert myself into this because I mean, you had already started a nonprofit. And I'm like, I like this. I want to keep going with this. You got me.
I done the bamboozle.
But yeah, I think one of the biggest ones most recently, like Mary mentioned, was us becoming a Mighty Cat partner with Orphan Kitten Club. That's a huge accomplishment with us. They do really great things. Obviously, we haven't applied for the specific big grant yet, but
it's in the works.
It's in the works. It'll be a great thing for us to have in the future. So I'm really proud of us for getting that, because obviously they are very meticulous in who they choose to be their rescue partners. They want to make sure they have the same values and goals and, you know,
financially responsible.
Yes, exactly. And we met all those boxes because we're awesome. And so I was very excited about that one.
Yeah.
And
that one felt like a tick in the you're real category.
Yes, right.
Like you're just not a silly thing. Like, nope, you're legit.
You're not just like a silly little girl with like kittens in her house. Like,
which
no,
I
you're
am.
Like real.
Don't get me wrong.
It can be both.
Okay, but side note, my favorite thing to do with people, especially like, for example, the tax guy who helps us with the rescue. Love him. Very sweet guy. The first year I went to him and was like, can you help me with my nonprofit's taxes? He was like, yeah, no problem. And I think what he thought is like, silly little girl.
Silly little girl.
With her silly little rescue. She's so cute. And then I give him these taxes that are like kind of complicated. And he's like,
yeah.
Oh, it's like, real. I'm like,
wow,
yes.
This is actually like a real thing.
We are silly little girls, but this is a big silly project.
Right, yes.
Like, it's legit. That's like my favorite thing to do, because they're always like, you run a rescue? And I'm like, yeah, and?
Yes, I do.
Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, personally?
Personally, I don't know. It's hard.
I know. This is why I think she needs to find balance.
That I'm proud of?
You didn't die.
I didn't die, and you know what? That was rough. Let me tell you.
It came close.
Yes, I survived. I am here. I do think I've had a lot of growth recently.
You have.
Just like through that whole depression thing, and it was like very ongoing. I'd learned a lot about myself, and kind of like what you said about like finding balance. Yep. And I'm like getting there. Sometimes it's really slow, but I want to just like find joy in the things that I used to find joy in. Like she calls me like a woodland autistic, because I love just like poking around in the woods and like looking for mushrooms and like critters and stuff. Like I just love that. And you know, it's one of those things where you're like, oh, well, that's not productive. So like, I'm never going to do that. But it's just like, I want to do things that like make me happy and don't necessarily have like a measurable outcome.
Yeah. And that's what I'm a little worried about. I'm going to have to stay on top of her, because what I don't want her to do is become incredibly overwhelmed with the rescue. Like, I want you to have balance while you do this, because I think you and I have both learned, and if you're watching this, you need to learn this lesson too. The only way you actually have growth and do impactful things in your life is when you are looking out for number one first.
Right.
And that sounds selfish and wrong, and people usually villainize that, but I don't mean like, it's not like I take money and put it in my pocket. That's not what I mean. I mean, it's like, hey girl, can't take on any more fosters.
Right.
You need to do that. Or like, hey, I'm too overwhelmed. Like, what was it? It was just like a day ago. Mm-hmm. I went to go get a new phone in my battery. Sure did.
A new phone in my battery.
A new battery in my phone.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I'll come over to your house afterwards so we can have like a meeting and kind of set up some fundamental things. And took way too long. And I was like, hey girl, hey, I can't handle that right now. Like, normally I would have pushed myself through that, but I was like, this is too much. This is my one thing. I'm going home. And she goes, cool. See you tomorrow. And that's what I mean. It's like making sure you're not pushing yourself past the bounds, which is what I always used to do. I'd have like 2 or 3 good weeks. Yeah. Right. We'd have 2 or 3 good weeks, and then we'd be like dead for a week.
Right. And you just wipe yourself out. Like,
I don't want to do that anymore. I want us to be able to find that balance so we can, because I think we'll move forward faster when we are balanced.
Right, exactly.
Counterintuitive.
Yes. Yeah. But no, you're so right.
I love being right. Not a question as such, but could you give Mary a hug for me, please? So here's the thing.
Oh my God.
I'm going to have Kay insert the pictures here.
Yes.
But we were getting headshots for our website. Yeah. And We took the headshots. We got them back. And what did your husband say?
So my husband was like, he had seen like an ad or something, and it was like a wedding ad, and it was like these two men, and I guess they were like modeling suits, and they were supposed to be, you know, this like gay couple, but Cody was like, oh my god, these models are like clearly like they were so awkward and like uncomfortable, and you're not selling this at all. And Cody was like, that's what you and Mary look like. 'Cause we're like standing like beside each other, and my sister, she was doing the headshots, like
she was like, get closer.
She kept being like, get closer, and we're like, and like acting like, and it was like, I don't know, like 2 years into knowing, a year and a half, like we knew each other. We should have been fine, but like we're awkward people.
I don't like touching. And I don't like assuming people like touching.
Right.
Ironically, we both learn though, as we get more comfortable with people, we get more cuddly. Yes. But when we don't know them,
right.
We're like,
yeah, I know.
Is that good? And so that's funny. So no, I don't know that we've ever hugged.
I'm trying to think if we have or not. Maybe? I don't
think we hugged? I don't think so. One for the books?
Okay. You guys are like, you're seeing this live. This is crazy. Oh my god.
Yesterday we touched knees, and today we hugged.
Look at this.
Things are progressing really fast. Please don't file a claim with HR. I am HR.
I am HR.
I will ignore it. Actually, taxidermy is Shadow's HR.
Oh yeah.
Shadow will ignore all claims.
She said.
Oh, was there a particular kitty that made you want to join a rescue organization?
Oh, that's so cute.
That's like the story.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh, Soka.
Little Soka. Yeah, she was the one that got me with Mary. And I've always loved cats, so I'd been fostering for a while. And it was, again, one of those situations where I just kept finding cats. Like, after my husband and I had gotten married, like, I would find a cat, and then he would find a cat. Mm-hmm. And we were, like, rehoming all of these cats and, like, fostering independently. And then I was like, I love this. Like, I want to do this all the time. So then I got into fostering for real.
Absolutely. I'm seeing if, I think there's maybe one more, but all of them we've kind of already answered. Most of them are, like,
who are you?
How did you meet? What's your favorite part of the job?
Mm-hmm.
What's one thing you want to accomplish in 2025? And I think what we want to accomplish in 2025 is kind of endless.
Yeah.
Limitless, one might say.
Limitless. I think it's going to be such a good year because we are going to try to keep it, I guess, taking a step back a little bit in that we're not having like an exponential growth year, but this is going to be a really great foundational year for that continued growth after this. Yeah. Because it's like Miss Dixie's is going to be huge. Like we're going to keep going and it's going to be incredible.
I'm so excited. Yeah. We've this year is the thing I've wanted to do for so long. I've told Bethany I wanted to do this for so long, but it's like when you're in the rescue space and you're in an area where it's like you are bombarded. I mean, we're still getting regular every day. Right. Just like, hey, I've got kittens. And you're like, I can't help so many.
Right.
I've wanted to take this step back, but then you just end up taking on so much that you don't take a step back. So now we are taking a legit step back, working on limiting intake as best we can while we really get some of these like really basic foundational things that I've kind of patched together over the years. Like we've patched together, but now we'll have like a strong system moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's going to be so nice. It's going to be so organized. It's going to be beautiful.
She's good at that. I'm not. I'm the chaos. She is. What's a C word that's for organization? I keep thinking comrade, but that's not what we want. I don't know why that came to mind.
I was thinking control, but that's not.
No, those aren't good.
I don't know. Somebody...
We'll think of it. Not comrade.
Not comrade. Chaos and something.
Something. Yeah. Well, we have a few more little updates.
Yeah.
And then that will be our first podcast of 2020.
Oh my god. 2025.
This month we've had 16 adoptions. 13 of them up north, 3 of them local. We still have a bunch of adults, older kitties available for adoption, but we are hoping we have we haven't scheduled it yet, but we have a meeting that we are going to schedule with a cat cafe up north that hopefully will help us move some of these older kitties faster.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing we're working on. We are working on not being depressed and not burning ourselves out. It's kind of at me on that one. You've already gone through it.
Yeah.
I'm coming out of it. And then one thing I have not... So... The last 2 months, the only times I've posted is kind of out of necessity. Usually when like the rescue needed something, which I hated because like I hate just posting and asking for things because I don't know, like you guys do so much for us that I want to make sure that I'm also giving things in return, like entertainment or updates and all this stuff. And I just did not have the energy in me. But when the hurricane hit and we were able to do that insane, that was all you guys.
Yeah.
And then recently I posted that we were out of dry food and wet food and like we really needed that for the new year. Every time I post something like that, I'm like, I'm asking one too many things and no one's going to show up. And every fucking time you guys show up in ways that I tell Bethany this all the time, right? Like how grateful I am of these people. Like you guys are just so wonderful. Like you've stocked us for the year. We have so much food and so like I'm just so grateful, and I've just not had the energy to be able to update you guys on those things. But know that I'm grateful. Know that I promised you a fashion show, and it's coming. You guys sent the costumes. I have them, and now that I have now we have a full-time employee, we can we can get it done. But yeah, I mean, there's so many things that I'm just so grateful for, and a lot of them are what you guys have been able to let us do, and that's hire her.
Yeah, I know. So I am also extremely grateful for that. Yeah. It really is. It's such an incredible community. And I think that's just one of the like super heartwarming parts about it too. It's just like you guys believe in the rescue and what Mary's doing and and what we're doing. And like, it's incredible. So we're always extremely, extremely grateful.
Yeah. The reason that I started posting on social media was simply because we didn't have the local support that we needed to make the change that we need. And with you guys every single day, we're able to make that change more and more. And I can see in the future, in the next 5 to 10 years, us having something that's really going to change this area.
Yeah.
But it all starts somewhere. We start small baby. Speaking of small baby, we have calendars.
We do have calendars.
It's the last, it's your last opportunity. That's the word. Last call for calendars for 2025. You can have kittens like Piccolo and some other wonderful little ones throughout the year just to keep you, I guess, happy. Yeah. I don't know. We need a little bit of happiness.
Serotonin, wherever you hang a calendar. Like
wherever. All that can be found if you go in either the description of this video, and if you're listening on Spotify, if you go to like my Instagram and whatnot, it should be all linked in the bio there too. To do. If you ever want to make a donation to Mystic Seas Kitten Rescue, that is also linked below. And if you ever felt like you wanted to become a patron and get some of the exclusives behind the scenes, you never have to, because I'd always much prefer, if you want to support me and what we're doing, please make a donation. But if you have extra and you want to, there's always Patreon, but that goes directly to me. So any final words on your first day?
I mean,
rate your first day so far?
Like a 12 out of 10. I mean, amazing. Also, Mary made me a smoothie.
Queens.
And okay, sorry, I have to brag on this. Mary is like a wizard, and she crocheted this beautiful cardigan for me that is so warm and cozy. And as Mary said, there's room for like at least 2 cats in here with me. And so yeah, just best first day ever. I mean, look at this. Like, what is this life?
It's her uniform.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all. With Bethany by my side now, full time, expect more content regularly, more updates regularly, and just a fucking great year.
Yes! I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
And thank you.
I love you.
Love you.
Appreciate you.
Gross.
I can't believe we hugged.
We did hug.
On
That's
camera.
So weird.
We've never hugged before.
You're welcome. That was like premium content right there.
We've only pause. We've driven across state lines. We've stayed in hotel rooms multiple times together.
Yeah.
We've done like really sad things.
Yeah. Yeah. Like maybe we have hugged after euthanasia. I don't know. So. We have done really sad things together.
We've never touched.
Yeah.
But that's on boundaries and respecting them.
Right. And on autism.
and autism. Okay, guys. I hope you love this very long first episode back. We will be back on Wednesday/Thursday with another like video, and then next week for a regular podcast. So keep an eye out. Subscribe. And we love you. Adios.
Bye.
Bye.